Planet Dolan. From the beginnings of achievements to an insight into how much it costs to make a game, we count 10 amazing secrets about the video game creation process and how some famous developers got their start.
Number 10.
Mega Man 5 Viet Cong. So there's a level in Mega Man 5 called Napalm Man, and has traps and enemies named after animals from Vietnam, and the design is strongly reminiscent of the Viet Cong tunnels. Did Vietnam take to this well? Well, no, they banned the game in their country. Problems like these have popped up a lot since then, but this has been one of the first and most prominent of the cases.
Number 9.
Skullgirls. Lab Zero Games asked for a total of $150,000 to include one entire extra character into their fighting game during a crowdfunding campaign. Apparently, this is actually less than it takes to put a character in. They just asked for the amount to finish the process off. So it makes sense that they put in some rather interesting anti-piracy methods, since DRM only lasts so long. They put in a pop-up that only plays on pirated copies that says, "What is the square root of a fish?" Now I'm sad, at the end of the game in order to confuse pirates. And me.
Number 8.
Activision. Every major console manufacturer does their best to get as much third-party support as possible. But it hasn't always been that way. Atari did everything in their power to make it so only they were legally allowed to create games for the Atari 2600. But Activision won a lawsuit and became one of the first ever legally allowed third-party manufacturers.
Number 7.
Tomb Raider. A lot of characters in the early days of gaming needed to have some incredibly distinct art design, or else they'd look generic or like a blob of weirdly shaped geometry. So you might be excused for thinking that Lara Croft's giant boobs were a conscientious decision, but actually the artist accidentally increased her breast size 100% more than he meant to. He tried to rectify his mistake, but the team approved it before he got the chance.
Number 6.
Emotion Chivos. The introduction of achievements to the modern gaming world is generally put up to Microsoft, which is mostly true, but they weren't the ones to come up with the idea in the first place. The game Emotion on the Amiga computer had secret bonuses, which functioned exactly like you'd expect achievements would today, except there were only 5 of them, and there weren't any throwaway achievements like kill 5 guys with dildo bat.
Number 5.
Nintendo has been around for a lot longer than the video game industry. In fact, they're quite a bit older than the popularized use of electricity, but they still produced gaming products. They made Hanafuda playing cards, which managed to get around the anti-gambling laws since they didn't have numbers on them. Instead, they had intricate art and symbols to take their place.
Number 4.
Zombie U is a sequel to a lesser-known game released in the Commodore 64 era, which was a first-person adventure game with the same mechanic of fighting the reanimations of your failed attempts through the game. But originally, it was going to feature the Raving Rabbids, the spin-off series from Rayman. Cartoony enemies would have probably felt more at home on the Wii U, but it's hard to imagine it being the same game at all.
Number 3.
Super Mario 64. Epona from Ocarina of Time was actually originally gonna be in Super Mario 64, where instead of riding Yoshi around, he would have a horse. The idea got moved to Zelda as a core mechanic designed at the start. It's easy to see why, since Epona's controls would have felt very out of place in a Mario game.
Number 2.
Earthbound. So Nintendo had published and therefore placed a solid bet on the success of both Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest / Warrior, but it seems this wasn't an informed decision. Miyamoto, ex-head of Nintendo, claims he never beat an RPG until Earthbound's release, so it's easy to guess that he didn't oversee every decision. His exact words were, "I finished Mother 1 too, although I had to use the debug mode. But Earthbound is the first game I ever finished on my own. I even restarted from the very beginning when I lost my save file. I was pretty impressed with myself, to be honest."
Number 1.
Did you know that Nintendo actually had a sleazy past? I mean, subverting gambling laws might sound sleazy, and it kind of is, but it's nothing compared to when they opened up a Love Hotel in 1960. Which is a Japanese hotel specialized for couples to have sex in. Not really relevant to making games, unless you add a high score to bonkin'. But it does go to show you how much a company can change. That's it for this countdown, and have a good one! Oh, Danger Dolan, I love random facts about life told really quickly one after the other in a countdown. Guess what? We have a whole channel dedicated to that. Links down below.
Like animation? Have some questions about life and the universe you need answered? Come check out Super Planet Dolan. Danger Dolan and I will answer your life questions. Links are down below.